Hi, I'm Perry Black right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV, and we have a wonderful guest with a powerful testimony, Stephanie Newton. She's our case manager at Second Chance Youth Ranch, and God has led her on a spiritual journey second to none. So don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show we have a very special guest, and not only a guest, a personal friend and a staff member. Stephanie Newton, welcome to Second Chance Ranch Television.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Stephanie, just before we went on the air, I found out, even though you've been on staff for 5 years, I found out that you're an adoptive mother.
Yes.
And that's very exciting. And your adoptive son, is he like 6 pounds? Is he a little baby?
He is a grown man now.
A grown man. How old is he?
Yeah, he is 32 years old.
32 years old.
Yeah.
Now, how is it possible, even as a spirit-filled believer, for a 21-year-old young lady to have a 31-year-old adoptive son? How's that possible?
I know. You know, it was one of those things where there was a need in the community. He had 6 other siblings, and they were all given to his grandmother. His mother gave him to our family and asked if we could keep him.
How old was he?
And he was 2 months old.
2 months old.
And then she decided that she didn't want him anymore. So actually, when I grew up, I took him with me. And so, and then when I met my husband, I told my husband that I wanted to adopt him.
All right, so he was 2 months old. How old were you at the time he joined your family?
I was, of course, I was going to tell how old I am now, but I was in high school.
You were in high school,
Yes.
and he was 2 months old.
And he was 2 months old.
And then you graduated high school. I guess then you went to college, got married?
No. So right after high school, shortly after high school, I got married, and then
the young man joined your family at that point?
he was still with me.
Yeah.
He was still with me, and then when my husband and I got married, before we got married, I asked him if he would be willing to adopt him. And so he said yes. And so after we got married, a few years after that, we made it official and adopted him.
All right, so let's back up this train. Where did you grow up?
I grew up right here in Arkansas, in Little Rock, actually, so not too far from here.
So where did you go to school?
We lived in Little Rock most of the time, and then we moved to North Little Rock, and so I was kind of split between the two. I ended up coming back to Little Rock to graduate high school from Mills.
From Mills?
Yes.
Well, I'm a Central guy, so we don't want to talk too much about that. But Mills was in a different level of athletics. I think they were probably, back in my day, way back, we were 3A before 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Gotcha.
So Mills was probably a 2A back then. I don't think we played y'all in sports. So we got along fine.
Good. Okay.
So you graduated Mills, then where did you go to college?
I started at Philander, and then I transferred over to UALR, and that's where I graduated from.
And you majored in?
I thought I was going to be a teacher, but after I tried it, I realized that was not where my heart was. And so I had a secondary ed minor and all that good stuff. And so I ended up actually with an English degree and a ton of psychology classes. So then I just decided to go on to Liberty University and study to get my master's.
Did you actually go there, or did you do Liberty online?
Online, yeah.
I saw yesterday on my Facebook post somebody was taking courses on Liberty Online.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful to be able to do that now?
Yeah.
So you graduated Mills, went to Philander, and then eventually got a degree in
English.
English, but you minored, I guess, in psychology?
Well, my minor was secondary education, and because I thought I was going to do teaching.
What grade did you think you were going to teach?
I was torn between like 9th grade and then possibly 10th or 11th.
Why did you think you wanted to be a teacher? When I spoke in public schools all over this state, sometimes even around the nation, I asked students in the programs, what do y'all want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. And probably 65% or more would say they wanted to be teachers, because teachers have a huge impact. Who impacted your life that made you really contemplate being an educator?
My mother.
Your mom, was she a teacher?
She was not, but she wrote a lot and she read to us a lot, and she just, every moment with her just about was a teaching moment.
Yeah.
And so it just did something to my heart. But I've always had just this love and care and concern for children. And I've always seemed to feel like I had this nurturing ability.
Did y'all have a bunch of children in your home?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 6.
Okay.
And so, and my husband, they've got like 7 kids or what
Yeah.
have you too. So we've always just been around a lot of just large families. So.
Now, when you say the oldest of 6, was that including the 2-month-old that moved into the home that became your son?
You mean, was I older than him? Well, I'm
No.
sorry.
was the 2-month-old that came, was
later
he a
on.
part of the family, the sibling of 6, or was he number 7?
He was number 7.
Number 7.
Yeah.
So there was
Yeah.
even actually more in the household at some point when you were in high school.
Yes, yeah.
But your mom was a nurturer, and
Yeah.
you really touched on something there that I hope people caught, and that is Mom was a teacher. She took advantage of teaching moments.
Yes.
I think too many times preachers, teachers, educators, adults, we think people ought to just do what they're told, especially children ought to do what they're told. But I believe in teaching moment by moment. That's what my wife and I did with our daughters. That's what we do with our grandchildren, all 7 of them. When we see something, we don't just see it. We say, hey, did you notice that? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Is that safe? What should we do about that? Do you know why we don't do that? Just teaching moments. And is that kind of what your mom did with y'all? Not only that, but reading to you and talking to you and communicating with you?
Yeah. And just really making us become aware of choices.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, she, was definitely different than how she was raised.
Yeah.
Because, of course, older times, they did more of what you're talking about, where it was just a lot of direction. But she gave us opportunity to make choices for ourselves, and she talked about the consequences and allowed us to see where we made mistakes and what we could have done differently. And, she just posed different scenarios and stuff to us to make us just really think about life. And so just that type of environment really just made me kind of feel like I had something that children could utilize. And so
I want to know how your mother impacted you, how you went from thinking about and even studying to be an educator, and somehow all those psychology courses made the complete circle where you joined our staff at Second Chance Youth Ranch. So we're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back with Stephanie Newton. Hi, I'm Perry Black right here at Arkansas Christian Academy. Are you looking for a faith-based Christian education for your student? Arkansas Christian Academy just celebrated our 20th year right here in Central Arkansas. We're one of the best kept secrets in private school education right here in the state. Why don't you take a moment, visit us, visit our website, make a phone call, come take a tour. We would love to meet you and your family and show you the opportunities that are available to your student. We have golf, baseball, 8-man football, volleyball, and basketball, along with many other extracurricular activities and courses like IT and television. Why not take a moment, visit our website, make that phone call. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you right here on our campus. God bless. Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Our special guest, Stephanie Newton, has a tremendous story, and we're going to dig deep. So I want you to sit back and listen carefully to how God has turned Stephanie's life into a tremendous testimony of the grace of God, the mercy of God, and the plan of God. You know, Stephanie, in Bible school, I went to the tape studio and for 12 hours listened to a series of tapes, 12 hours on how to know the will of God. I could tell you all 12 ways to know the will of God, still didn't know the will of God for my life.
Yeah.
But it just unfolds. And you were telling me your mother was a real teacher. You grew up in the faith.
Yeah.
But around 16, and this all really explains how you started becoming an educator, maybe an English teacher, and how you took psychology and ended up going into the more psychological part of ministry through Second Chance Youth Ranch and ministering to our kids. So if you don't mind, tell me what happened around 16 and so many young people, 16, 17, begin to wonder, do I really believe this, or do I believe this because Mama did? Do I believe this because somebody else told me to?
Yeah.
What happened around 16, 17-year-old in your life, I guess at Mills High School?
Mm-hmm.
In and around
actually,
Mills?
at that time I was still at North Little Rock High. But I was doing what I felt God wanted me to do, and I loved the Lord. But then there was drugs actually introduced into our home. And so when that happened, I began to try to figure this thing out, try to figure out life and trying to understand things kind of on my own. And I fell in love, like some young people do. And so I just really kind of became disobedient.
Fell in love with a young guy?
With a young guy.
All right, can I interject here a little question? Because you just kind of dropped these things off on me over and over. Drugs were introduced to my home. Somebody rung the doorbell and said, hey, do y'all want some drugs? Somebody in the family started getting involved in drugs. That had some influence on your life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. I kind of became a parent to my siblings, and I just tried to be very supportive to my mom as we were trying to support my dad, actually, with his addiction. And so I just became the second helper. And then I fell in love, and this young gentleman, of course, he just became very supportive to our household and everything. And I made up in my mind that no matter what, my siblings were going to stay together. And so I just sought to get a place to live, and they could all come and live with me. And including my mom is what I was thinking. And so, but during that process, I ended up getting pregnant and having children. And
how old were you then?
Well, I was a teen.
16, 17?
I was in that age group.
Yeah. You were young. But you were in love. And young people in love that are craving to be loved, it is amazing how that can detour us from really God's plan, but not keep God's plan from coming to pass.
Correct, yeah.
So what happened?
And so, and his support, because I wasn't feeling I was getting that in the home, it just became really important because he wrapped his hands around the family. And so you kind of lean to that a little bit.
All right, back up, Stephanie. You're really good. But you keep saying these things. You needed something you weren't getting at home. I know people are watching right now, and that's the need of our heart. Your dad was involved in an addiction. You needed that father in your life, and because he wasn't there, you stepped up to take on a role, really a maternal role, coming alongside mom. And then a guy comes into your life, and because you needed that. We all need that. But then life kind of began to detour you away from your spiritual walk with the Lord. But God didn't forsake you, did He?
No, He didn't.
So tell me a little bit about that journey. We got about 2.5 minutes in this segment.
So when I was about 19, that's when I rededicated my life to the Lord, and I felt like I owed God my life. And so when I shared it with the love of my life at that time, and he just was not ready to.
He wasn't ready.
No. And so, but I one night, about 3 a.m, I was laying there. God woke me up. I began to cry, and it was as if God was just calling me. And He didn't so much offer me the choice, but I felt that I had to. It was Him, all of Him, giving me giving all of myself to Him, or because I couldn't split myself.
So would we call that the convicting power of the Holy Spirit?
Yes.
Isn't that what we call that?
Yes.
I say it like that, you can't hide from the hound of heaven.
Right.
You can go to the highest mountain, the deepest ocean, He is there. And the beauty of Christianity that I don't think a lot of people really get, even Christian people don't get it. When we fail, God doesn't give up on us.
Right.
He never kicks us to the curb.
The whole time that I was in my disobedience is what I call it, I knew God loved me. The whole time I continued to feel the draw of God, and God continuing to show me the path that He wanted me on, and just in how to be obedient to Him. And so it just caused me to make some choices in my life, and not all the time. You can't really do that in your flesh. And so
what happened though? You give your life to the Lord. The love of your life's not excited about that. So obviously something may have happened where y'all went separate ways at some point.
We just went our separate ways, and I just.
What did you do though? Now you've got a baby.
Yeah, I I took my babies.
Yeah.
I took my babies and
Well, now that's plural. How many babies you got at this
I
point?
had twins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, his first children, so he was not excited, of course, but
Yeah.
we are the best of friends.
Yeah.
And him and my husband, they're the best of friends. And so God worked all of that out.
The ministry of reconciliation. Isn't God good how He can take such traumatic events in our life and turn them around, rebuild relationships, and we still get to live out our own destiny. He never gives up on us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm going to take a brief break and leave the audience hanging, because now you've rededicated your life to the Lord. You've got babies. Somehow you're married now and you've got a 31-year-old adopted son and a whole bunch of other kids, and you work at Second Chance Ranch.
Yeah.
What a tremendous story. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm Alan Middlebrooks, and this is Middlebrooks Electric Heating and Air. And my daddy founded the business in 1945. And my brother and I had been working as we grew up in the family business our entire life. From 1992, we were actually working in the basement of their house. And so we bought another piece of property and moved. We outgrew that piece of property, and then we bought the Lewis Lumber property where we're at now. Once you walk through at the ranch and you take a tour and you actually get to meet the kids out there, and it's life-changing. I knew when I walked through and I went through the ranch and I talked to the kids, and Billy and I walked around as well, and I thought, this is what I need to do, because the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, this is what you need to be doing. Here's where you need to be helping. And so we always look and we always ask to be used in guidance and direction, and that was a direct guidance and direction. It's you see the need, you know the need, and you know that what you're doing, you're sowing in a good field. And that's what it's all business owners should be looking for as we help our community. And we're community people. We like to do for the community here locally as well. I invite all businesses, you look for a local, whether it be a charity, but this is more than a charity. This is lives. And these kids need us. They need us as business partners, financially, and being able to go out and put our hands on these things that are out there and fill those needs. It's huge. The big thing is I can promise you this: you will well be blessed, and what it does to you is it'll touch your heart. You need to get involved with that. Go out, meet with Billy and Rachel, and do a walkthrough out there, and it'll change your life. Simple as that. And you know where you're putting your money is going to a good cause, and they are good stewards of what we give. I can promise you that. And if you look at too as a business owner, as we're in these times that we are right now, with the pandemic going on, and it's strictly blessed, because we never seen. We have some good friends that have seen businesses fail and go completely out of business, and they're back again. You sow the seed, and you sow those seeds in those fields that are needed, and you watch your business prosper. You watch what happens when the times are at their worst, and you watch your numbers and your business prosper the most. Our business has prospered more during 2020 than it had in the last 2 years. It's God's math. That's the blessings of sowing the seed in the field that's fertile, and that's what you get for doing it. The best thing you can do. Is the best business decision that you could ever do, hands down, because those are returned. Those seeds will turn back, and you can expect that harvest.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Stephanie Newton, our special guest on this program, has a tremendous testimony of the love of God, the pursuit of God, the forgiveness of God, and the purpose of God. Stephanie, you've been on staff at Second Chance Youth Ranch for 5 years. You're a case manager. We may or may not even talk about that in this segment, because I want to know, at the age of 19-ish, you have twins. God's woke you up in the middle of the night, the convicting presence, the loving presence of the grace of God, and you recommit your life to the Lord. The love of your life's not real excited about that, so ultimately, over a period of time, y'all went different ways. But then, you've been married now for a long time to a lovely man.
Yeah.
And you're attending Poen Assembly of God.
Yes.
A town of about 300 and a church of about 500. So
Yes.
God's shaking trees, and there's a great awakening happening in our nation. How did God move you then from that period of time with those two little twins? Kind of redundant, isn't it? Two twins. Otherwise, it'd be triplets, wouldn't it? What did God do to move you to ultimately choosing a different career path than teaching? And how did you migrate your way to Second Chance Youth Ranch? Tell us that story.
So, because I became a mom early, that took my full attention. And so I really had to pray and seek God on how to be the best parent. And so the Lord just awakened me to going to classes, reading books, and watching other people and how they parented.
And you were ultimately teaching parenting classes at Children's Hospital, or?
No, I taught my first parenting class actually at the Watershed.
There you go.
And
Hezekiah Stewart,
19.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
Pastor Hezekiah.
Yeah, and they bused, my children went to daycare there and all of that good stuff. But somehow I got connected to Children's Hospital. Someone gave them a name, and so they eventually wanted me to start. I sat on a panel with parents and talking about teen parenting, and even talking with parents on how to help prevent teen parenting, if you will.
Yeah.
And then I began to talk to other teens who had babies, and so it kind of became a mentor with them. And then they decided with Channel 4 Children's Hospital to kind of partner, just kind of monitor my life a little bit, and just watch me kind of grow a little bit with my children. And so that really pointed me in the direction of just having a heart for young people, especially teenagers and young parents.
Yeah.
And
that maybe are migrating life, going through some of the same stuff that you are.
Yeah.
Dad's not present. The home's not really working the way God designed it.
Yeah.
But God never gives up, and the Holy Spirit just continued to move you in that direction.
Yes.
Well, I don't know how to summarize your life in the next 4 minutes, but how did you ultimately come on staff as a case manager helping our foster children 24/7? And we mean 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Where were you working when you met us?
Yeah, so I was working with DCFS, and actually out of a lot of the programs that we were dealing with, I really gravitated toward this program. One, because I saw that they were trying to establish roots for kids, and so trying to create a new village for the children. And so that, my heart was just overwhelmed by that. But the more I was even bringing children for interviews and helping to get kids placed here, I just felt more drawn to this. And then just one day I heard the Lord speak to me and tell me that I was going to work here. Didn't know when.
You mean to tell me God speaks to people today? Wouldn't it be terrible to have a God that wouldn't talk to you?
Oh my gosh, that would be awful. But
so you were actually here on the administrative campus where my offices are, and you were working with one of the foster children that you were either placing or what?
Yes, yeah. I brought
and the Lord
him.
spoke to you. What did he tell you?
He told me that I was going to work here, and I just kind of paused for a moment because, of course I liked working with, I liked working with DCFS because I believed I was making a difference.
Department of Children and Family Services,
Services,
for anybody that doesn't know what that stands for.
Yeah, so I didn't know, of course, why God was going to move me, but I heard him say it. And so eventually I got a call from Chad Strike, and he talked to me about joining the staff.
Chad Strike's our clinical director.
Yeah.
And so now, 5 years later, here we are. And what a tremendous testimony. I want you to take a moment. I want you to look right there at our audience and tell them whatever the Holy Spirit inspires you. We know people are watching this show. It's 11:27 at night, and God's pulling their chain just like he did you 3 o'clock in the morning. And maybe it's a young person that's just struggling with some really, really hard choices. What would you tell those folks?
Yeah. You know, part of the reason why I pour out so much to the young people is because God didn't give up on me. When I was making poor decisions, because I had such a traumatic experience in my life when I was 16, our home was turned upside down. God was ever present, and he was continuing to pour into me. That is why my heart is so filled with trying to encourage people to foster, and trying to encourage people to adopt, and trying to encourage people, if you can't foster in your home, do something. You know, we all can do a part to make up the whole. So we can volunteer, we can make donations, because these children, they've gone through so much, and some of them feel forgotten. They feel there's no hope. I was blessed to have a grandmother and my mom who continued to pour hope in me, but there are a lot of children who don't have that. So part of my heart is to try to be that for those children. And since I've been a part of this program, even before, this is what I saw with Second Chance Youth Ranch, is that the directors, the staff, the foster families, they were trying to be for these children what these children needed when their bio families couldn't be that for them during that time.
So there is something for everybody to do.
Absolutely.
You can pray. Everybody can pray.
Yeah.
Some people can give. Matter of fact, everybody can give. I tell so many stories of sweet people sending $1, teenagers sending $5 a month. And this ministry is a result of those seeds that have been given. And so there's something that you can do. So I want to encourage you to contact us here at 2CYR-TV or 2CYR.org. Talk to Billy and Rachel or Stephanie and find out what God's talking to you about. And if nothing else, just keep praying and watching and allow the Holy Spirit to lead and guide you. God's not giving up on you, so don't give up on God. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV next time. God bless. You know, I was reminded of a story of a little boy who woke up in the middle of the night in the midst of a horrible storm. Thunder rolling, lightning flashing, shadows dancing all through the bedroom. He's scared, so he gets up and goes into his mom's bedroom and says, "Mom, can I sleep with you? I'm scared." She said, "Son, there's no reason to be scared. Go back to your own room. Jesus is in there with you." He said, "Mama, I know Jesus is in there, but I want somebody with skin on them." Are you looking for an opportunity to be Jesus with skin? Did you know there's hundreds of children in waiting in foster care who are looking for a loving home? At Second Chance Youth Ranch, we're a placement agency, a support system for foster parents, making a life-changing difference in the hearts of hurting kids. We're looking for foster parents. We're looking for college students, part-time and full-time foster parents with a great compensation package. Will you contact us today and let us know how we can help you make a decision to be Jesus with skin? God bless.